If you want to play Fortnite smoothly with no stutters or FPS drops, then you need the right graphics card or GPU, however you wanna call it, for your budget and needs. In this video, I will break down the best graphics cards for Fortnite. All budgets included, so it doesn't matter if you are working with a tight budget or if you just want the fastest GPU regardless of the price. I will go through specific GPU recommendations for 1080p, 1440p and even 4K resolution. All the links to these Fortnite high FPS graphics cards will be down below in the video description with the latest pricing and availability in your region. And be aware that the graphics card might not even be the #1 most important PC component when we talk about high FPS for Fortnite. And if you get another component wrong, then the game will feel stuttery. But don't worry about it because I will touch that topic in just a second. The first graphics card that I'm going to mention is the best budget one. So if you are working with a very tight budget and you want to achieve around 144 plus FPS on average at 1080p resolution, competitive settings or performance mode, then this graphics card is going to be the ideal for you. Well, I have two graphics cards actually. One of them is from the used market in case you want to spend less money and still achieve great performance, and the other graphics card is going to be brand new. The one from the used market is the RX 5700 XT, which is an amazing graphics card from AMD, and trust me, you will be achieving over 144 plus FPS on average with this GPU, and if you pair it with the right components, you might even get 240 plus FPS on average. So you can buy a 144Hz or 165Hz 1080p monitor and take full advantage of it. And the most appealing thing about this graphics card, of course, is the price, since you are working with a tight budget. This one sells from $115 all the way up to $130, depending on which one you want to buy. But honestly, that is an amazing price for a budget GPU. And then if you want a brand new graphics card and you want to skip the used market, then I recommend you getting the Intel Arc A580, which will allow you once again to play at 144 plus FPS on average, possibly 200 plus FPS. Now, even though these two graphics cards will allow you to play at 144 plus FPS on average, well, 165 plus FPS actually, and of course I'm talking about Fortnite, as a tech YouTuber, I can't recommend a graphics card without also recommending a CPU alongside it. And even though most modern games require more of your GPU, especially those high demanding graphics like Cyberpunk 2077 for example, esports games like Fortnite, CS2, Valorant and games of that nature will demand a lot more from your CPU than those highly graphic demanding games, especially if you want to achieve high FPS in these esports games and you want to turn down the settings to competitive settings for you to achieve the highest frame rates. On top of that, having a great graphics card but a weak CPU will be causing a bottleneck, meaning that you will suffer from stutters, FPS drops, and trust me, this is going to be a headache if it happens to you. So don't worry about it, because from now on I will be mentioning a CPU alongside every graphics card that I mention throughout this video, because I believe that is very important, and just giving you a graphics card like that is not going to fix every issue. And keep in mind that even if you have the best graphics card and CPU combo, sometimes Fortnite is not well optimized. Well, if you have been playing the game for a while, you know by now that even if you have the best of the best components, you might still get some stutters because of the new season optimizations, and that's why we call it stutter night. Also, in this case, alongside the RX 5700 XT or Intel Arc A580, doesn't matter which one you want to buy, the ideal CPU to pair with this graphics card is going to be the i3 12100F, which is going for around $80 brand new, and is going to be ideal for this graphics card for you to achieve 144 plus FPS on average, especially if you are working on a tight budget. With the next graphics card, we have the best mid-range GPU that will allow you to play at 240 plus FPS on average at 1080p competitive settings, and here you can also play at 1440p resolution, 165 plus FPS in case you have a 1440p 144 or a 165Hz monitor. And by the way, you can also play at 4K competitive settings, 120 plus FPS on average. This graphics card is the RX 6750 XT, going for around $300, and this is one of the best value graphics cards in the entire market for both esports games like Fortnite, but also for high demanding tasks. titles at 1080p or 1440p resolution. Also, if you want to have an Nvidia GPU instead, because maybe you just don't want to buy from AMD, then I recommend you getting the RTX 4060 instead. Just keep in mind that it's the same price and will give you less performance than the RX 6750 XT. And for those who think that Fortnite works better with Nvidia rather than AMD, that's actually wrong. I used to think the same thing, but then Zach Texter uploaded a YouTube video explaining everything, testing, so Nvidia is not going to work better than AMD in Fortnite. That's a myth, but still, if you want to have a GPU from Nvidia, the RTX 4060 is going to be the same price, and it will allow you to play at 240 plus FPS as well, especially if you pair it with the Ryze CPU, which in this case, in my opinion, is the i5-12400F, which is an amazing mid-range CPU that will allow you to play at 240 plus FPS in Fortnite competitive settings or performance mode at 1080p resolution. Then if you want a high-end graphics card to play Fortnite and achieve 360 plus FPS on average, for you to buy a 360Hz 1080p monitor, or if you want to play at 1440p 240 plus FPS, so you can easily fit a 240Hz 1440p monitor, then these two graphics cards are going to be ideal for you. If you are willing to go AMD and achieve more performance for the price, then getting the RX 6800 is going to be the best choice, which is going for around $360 by the time of filming. Just keep in mind that the prices for these graphics cards might be different when you are watching this video, so I do recommend you checking the latest pricing and availability from the links down below. And then if you must go Nvidia, then I recommend you going with the RTX 4060 Ti 8GB version. Now, I usually never recommend this graphics card for anyone, but if you're just going to play esports shooters like Fortnite or Valorant or CS2, and again you want to achieve 360 plus FPS and you must have Nvidia, then this is going to be a really nice graphics card for those type of games. But as I said before, the CPU is quite important, and here the ideal CPU will be the Ryzen 5 7600 from AMD. I have tested that CPU with the RTX 4060, which is slower than the one that I'm recommending here, and I was able to average way over 360 plus FPS in Fortnite. So here you are going to be getting even faster performance, and perhaps you will be able to fit a 540Hz monitor. And before we get into the fastest Fortnite GPU, I want to say that if you are finding valuable information so far and you want to learn more about computers, subscribe and hit the bell icon, that way you get notified when I upload new content. Now let's get into the fastest graphics card, and as I said before, this one will allow you to play at 540 plus FPS on average competitive settings or performance mode in Fortnite, and you will be achieving 360 plus FPS at 1440p or 240 plus FPS on average at 4K resolution. So you pick your monitor resolution and refresh rate, of course, and this GPU is the RX 6800 XT. This graphics card is going for $430, and trust me when I say it's going to be a beast to play Fortnite high FPS. And then if you want to play high demanding games like Cyberpunk or those type of titles on the side, this GPU is going to be great for 1080p, very high FPS as well, or 1440p resolution if you want a better image quality. Now, if you must have Nvidia once again, then I recommend you the alternative, which is the RTX 4070, and it will be achieving around the same numbers as the 6800 XT. Just keep in mind that it's going to be around $100 more expensive, but if you must have Nvidia, then you must be willing to spend the extra $100. And the ideal CPU to pair with these graphics cards if you want the fastest performance is the Ryzen 9 7900X3D, which is a very expensive CPU, but again, some people want the best of the best, and if you are willing to spend this amount of money on a CPU, then you will be achieving 540 plus FPS in Fortnite competitive settings or performance mode at 1080p resolution. And before the keyboard warriors, aka haters, go to the comment section and say that there are faster GPUs in the market like the RTX 4080 Super or RTX 4090, well, yes, you're right. Of course there are faster GPUs in the market, but in this video I took into consideration price to performance. If you want to play esports games, GPUs like the RTX 4090 are not going to make any sense unless you have a lot of money and you just don't care about buying the best of the best, and you also want to play story games on the side in high resolution like 1440p or 4K ultra settings. But spending around $1,800 on a graphics card for esports games is not going to make any sense, because yes, sure, you are going to be getting more performance, but let's say with the RTX 4070 or RX 6800 XT you already average 540 plus FPS, and then with the 4090 you are able to average around 700 plus FPS. That means that you get faster performance, but it doesn't mean that you will be able to notice it anyway, because the fastest refresh rate in the market is a 540Hz 1080p monitor. That being said, you will not be able to see anything past 540 plus FPS. And that's why before you comment anything, yes, you can get more expensive GPUs, and of course if you want to go with the RTX 4090, that's all you, and that's up to your needs and budget. But for Fortnite specifically, you don't need to spend that amount of money. But what if I told you that even after getting the best CPU and GPU combo, even if you get the RTX 4090 or 4080 Super, you might still struggle while playing Fortnite? I mean, maybe the FPS are high, but if the cooling and airflow is not enough, trust me, long term you are going to be hurting your performance. Or if the memory speeds are not high enough, then the stutters might come again, or you might not reach the full potential of your GPU and CPU combo. So if you want to get the best complete gaming PC build around the CPU and GPU with no bottlenecks, and you want to make sure that everything is working fine, I encourage you to watch my video on the best esports gaming PC builds. You can find that video in the top right corner of the screen, and also down in the video description alongside every graphics card I mentioned today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.